Hey guys, hope you're doing good. Let me tell you about my sponsor, Noble Gold. You know, life has never looked so uncertain as it does right now. Across the U.S., people are being paralyzed into indecision. So many people humming and hawing about everything, feeling flustered with all of these shutdowns, avoiding that issue, the money one. But bleak as it might look, there may be a silver or even gold lining. If you've worked for years before CV, you could have a 401k sitting around gathering dust, or even an old IRA that we could help with. Working for your old company when it could be working for you. We're not talking peanuts either. Some plans have thousands of dollars in them. All your 401k plans. Look into this, please. To find out more about unlocking your own hidden treasure, call the team at Noble Gold at 877-646-5347. And if that's not an incentive enough, Noble Gold is giving away the U.S. Mint's own solid silver 5-ounce $1 Apollo 11 moon landing coin when you sign up today for a gold or silver IRA. I have one. It's so worth it right now to jump on the phone and deal with this by calling 877-646-5347 now. Please, guys, jump on this opportunity. They will help you out. It's a great company and they support True Reporting, and you get an awesome coin in the meantime, my friends. So again, thank you for choosing Noble Gold, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the 23rd of September, and on today's podcast, we have the president of Noble Gold, Colin, with us again today. How are you, my friend? You doing good?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. You've brought some articles for us here today. We're going to go over those. The first article you showed me was about Russia and how the banks are boosting gold reserves to historic highs amid the CV pandemic. That's massive, and that dropped today only 6 hours ago, and I'll bring that into focus. So what are your thoughts on that with them holding the reserves to an historic high?
Yeah, I mean, I think what they're saying is, obviously they have a distrust of other assets of the world, but China has been buying gold pretty considerably or heavily over the last 5 to 6 years. China and Russia have been the largest buyers, net buyers of gold during that time period. And, it is telling that with all the assets that, this country could buy, that they decide to put more of their net worth into physical gold. And it makes sense because, we are anticipating gold to continue to go up in value. And for a central bank that, doesn't need the money, obviously Russia is very wealthy for a number of reasons. They are telling people that it's a good time to hold some physical assets. Obviously Russia is very rich in lots of different minerals, but they want to continue to hold gold as a bartering instrument, as a trading instrument. A lot of central banks use gold to trade and barter with other countries, so it makes sense for them to increase their holdings to these historic highs.
Do you think we're seeing the dying days of central banking?
I think the banks are so powerful in every part of the world. I think when you look at the world saying that they're fed up with the way that the central banks can control and manipulate money, we would love for that to happen. But the problem is that, and this is the thing that always comes back, is that all of these governments rely on these currencies because they want to be able to tax you in one way or another. So the way that they control these fiat currencies and sort of force them down the throats of citizens is something that's going to be hard to break. And if you think about what our government is able to do with keeping interest rates low, before 2001, if people remember, interest rates used to go up and down based on inflation. Now, since 2001, the Fed has basically just kept interest rates as low as physically possible. They've just created more debt for our country and put us into more and more problems. But what they've been able to do is they can predict these collapses. I mean, if you look at these stock market collapses, these economy crashes, with this low money, this low monetary policy where they just keep interest rates low, they can manipulate the markets, right? So, obviously COVID was the most recent event, but there's always something that these governments can do to create a recession or a depression. 2008, it was obvious. I mean, people were buying homes with no money down. People, the way that we could buy a home with no paperwork. I mean, people that were buying homes, that made $25,000 a year were buying $500,000-$600,000 homes. And none of it made any sense. So they create these environments where there's going to be a collapse, and then the wealthy people of the world come in and they pick up assets. And that absolutely happened during COVID again this time. So as much as I'd love to get away from the Fed and central banks, at this point, the governments are just so powerful and so strong. They're just going to continue to force people to use these currencies.
And we've seen throughout the past, I'd probably say year and a half, maybe 2 years, the president continuously bashes the Fed. I think that in due time, if he's able to end the Fed, and he's absolutely dumping tons of money into the U.S. Treasury, which a lot of the listeners out there we've talked about that numerous times on my channel. So hopefully these are the last days of these central banking systems, and hopefully the Fed gives us a little leeway and starts being nicer to the American people.
Well, what it comes down to is that we're forcing it. We've created a society of debt. I mean, there's no way to build a real significant wealth unless you look at different debt instruments that are out there. So obviously buying your home is one way. You're able to buy it. Rates are low, so people buy homes. It's a good way to kind of lock in your mortgage and your rate. And then you look at other assets that have like a limited supply, like gold and silver are really good right now, because inflation is the killer. That's the silent killer that nobody wants to talk about. And unfortunately, until we can get a situation where they will actually report the true consumer price index, they'll report the actual inflation numbers. Once they're able to do that, then they will not be able to keep interest rates at all-time lows. They'll have to keep interest rates up. They'll have to move them up and be more comparable to inflation. And then we won't run into this situation where we build up all this debt and we have this collapse, and regular people can live a normal life. Because we've gone away from the American dream of saving money. I mean, our parents, they would instill at us like save money and save money. Right now, the way that the system is set up, saving money and not investing. I mean, you have to invest almost everything out there to get a decent return, because wages are not going up as much as inflation. And so you really have to do all these things to try to sustain your life. And so it's really a system that is not set up well for the average American. And that's a shame, because our country was really built on, middle class, regular people being able to work and buy a house and retire and have a good, decent life. And right now, what people have to do to have that life is they have to have a job, and then they legitimately have to become investors. They have to spend a little time with their family, and then 2 to 3 times a week they need to look out there and figure out what the next investment is to keep their finances in order. A lot of people are taking multiple jobs. I mean, it's really a shame the way things have gone, unfortunately.
I agree with you. You sent me another article talking about the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which is this is very interesting as well. Let me bring that in real quick.
Jerome Powell, what he did, the thing that when people ask me, since I've been in the precious metals industry, they ask me like, what can you, what do you know? What do you know about what's happening? And until something like this happens, where someone in the Fed, the Federal Reserve basically says they're going to keep interest rates low for 3 years, that is unprecedented. I've never, since I've been in the gold business, since I was in real estate, I've never seen anything like this, where they basically said our economy is in shambles and we're going to have to just keep rates low for the next, 2 to 3 years. that sort of, in my opinion, sets the runway for limited supply items, because I gotta think, if interest rates are gonna stay this low, debt's gonna stay this low, that people are gonna continue to buy gold and silver in droves. And that's why a country like Russia is doing it. They know that with interest rates this low, that gold and silver have to react positively. And I think there's going to be more countries buying gold, and I think we're going to see a much bigger push. I mean, obviously, all the banks that no one has ever seen recommend gold, like Bank of America. They say gold's going to hit $3,000 an ounce. So you have all these institutions, talking about gold, hitting these unprecedented numbers, and a lot of it has to do with statements like this from the Fed. The Fed shouldn't say they're going to keep interest rates low for 3 years. They're supposed to meet monthly, quarterly, and decide if interest rates should go up or down. So this move was sort of unprecedented in terms of what I've ever seen from the Federal Reserve.
So when the president says that he wants to keep our interest rates low, you do agree with that, or you don't agree with that?
I think interest rates should move based on what is happening in the economy, and so yes, I get it. From the president's point of view, keeping interest rates low is great for business, right? But also it does create these bubbles. That's the big issue. If you remember, if you go back, 90s. You go back to the 80s, you could put money in a bank and make 4, 5, 10, 15%, because that was what was reported for inflation. And I believe that if they actually reported true inflation, we'd be at 8 to 10%. So listen, I love the idea as a business owner being able to get money cheap, or real estate to be able to get things cheap. But at the end of the day, that's not how things are supposed to be set up. The Fed is supposed to raise or lower interest rate based on the inflationary rate. And unfortunately, if you look at inflationary rate for the last 15 years, it's literally never reported more than 2%. And I guarantee you and I could look at our bills and our credit card statements for the last 10 years. And I guarantee you the cost of goods have gone up well more than 2% per year, which is actually reported by the government.
Right. Yeah. This is it's for the most case. This is unprecedented, and it has not done anything like this. They say for the past decade, if not longer. So I don't. This is we're in strange times, Colin, and I don't know what the future holds. We're 42 days away from the election. What do you see happening once we get past November?
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, I'm surprised if there's if the presidency is not, if they're on either side, whoever's they believe who the winner is. I think we're going to see something a little unprecedented in the president. I don't know if Trump wins. I don't know if the Democratic Party is going to allow it, and vice versa. I think we're going to see something that we've never seen before there. Which is scary. I think that's something that would send some pretty significant shockwaves through the stock market if we saw, people protesting the actual elections. And we're not in a situation where, the last time we had it with Bush, with the hanging Chad situation. I mean, that was really an isolated incident, really focused in Florida. I mean, the way we're doing it now with the mail-in ballots, I think there could be widespread sort of chaos, which I think is not going to be good for the stock market. I think we'll see some pullbacks there. But in terms of where things are going, I think any type of uncertainty with who's going to be president, with the stock market, a lot of people believe it's heavily overvalued. I think we're in a position. I think we're going to see a pretty dramatic pullback in the markets before the end of the year. And then, the one thing I look at is, are we going to see unemployment creep below 7.5%? Because if it's ever going to creep below 7.5%, it's going to happen right now, because a lot of retailers would do a lot of hiring now to keep up with the end of the season, Black Friday, Christmas demand. But I don't know if we're going to see a Christmas like we did before. I don't know if we're going to see a Black Friday like we did before. So a lot of those things could really hang in the balance for a lot of corporations, because a lot of corporations live on the last 2 months of the year and whether they're going to survive. So I think it's going to be something that we really need to watch. And I'm definitely concerned about the next 2 months or the next few months of the year.
Yeah, I am too. A lot of people's psyche are teetering on, what's to come. People are isolated. I think a lot of people, you speak of Christmas and Thanksgiving, Black Friday, that's, so on and so forth. I think people are really waiting on this vax to come out. I know the president had said something about, it might come out in November. It might come out the first quarter of next year. I think a lot of that is also teetering as well with people's minds of what we could see at the end of the year. That's a big scenario as well.
Yeah, the vaccine, I think what you're alluding to is that the vaccine would be a confidence booster. And,
Sure.
and I agree with you. And will it be ready to be distributed? Does it even have to be distributed for there to be a confidence boost? Probably not. I think even because, obviously they know they can't get it out that quickly. Even if they release a vaccine that they believe will have some measurable results, that could have a boost towards people's confidence, and that would be a good thing, obviously. But whether it's going to happen before the election is, it's tough to know. There's so many things up in the air. So ultimately, I think people are looking at, if they're uncomfortable with where they're at, they're looking for some diversification. We do obviously precious metals. If they're looking to get into or discuss some cryptocurrencies, that's something we also offer within the IRA. So anyone that's looking for something maybe a little bit different, they're not happy the direction, or they're concerned about the direction, definitely give us a call, and love to send you out some free information about what we do.
Yeah, another incentive, you get these cool coins too.
Absolutely, yeah. The Apollo 11, anyone that signs up, that promotion actually will expire at the end of this month. So anybody that starts a qualified IRA, or if you have an old 401k, if you start the paperwork this month, and you qualify, you're in the system with us, you're going to get that coin. It's a $300 value coin. Beautiful coin, as you can see obviously on the screen. So anybody, if you need a little extra push, you've been thinking about it for a while, you're going to get that coin delivered to your doorstep if you get started with us.
Yeah, it comes in an awesome casing and in a velvet casing, and it looks really professional. It just looks like something that you would want to keep, out. Kind of like a centerpiece maybe, or something on like a bookshelf would look really good. Colin, I appreciate it. You guys always back this channel, you back what we do, and I'm forever grateful for that. And guys, go out there, look at the ads that I put out for this company, for Noble Gold. They they're doing some really good things, and they're here to help you, because just like Colin said, the next 2 months is full of an uncertainty. So make sure that you're prepared, you're ready, and I think that these guys will definitely help you out. So Colin, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye. Guys, if you found what you just watched informative and you enjoyed it, then please subscribe to the True Reporting family today. There are many ways to support this channel, like our Patreon link, our PayPal link, and our TRUreporting.us official website link in the description box below. Join the True Reporting family today and be a part of history, because where we go one, we go all.